The Batman was phenomenal. A self-contained, atmospherical, grounded reinvention of the character that felt both familiar and completely new. It wasn't a Bruce Wayne story, it was pure Batman. For the first 45 minutes, you watched a slow burn detective thriller unfold. You saw Patterson's Batman obsess, spiral, investigate, and brutalise criminals with a level of desperation and ruthlessness we hadn't seen before. It wasn't cartoonish, it wasn't fantastical. It was a noir crime epic with new characters like Catwoman, the Penguin, Riddler, and the Carmine Falcone crime family, all woven into a grimy, believable Gotham. And it worked. Critically, commercially, and culturally. Naturally, everyone waited for the sequel. And then they waited, and then they waited, and we're still waiting. And here we are. The sequel is now dated for 2028, a full 6 years after the first film. It was originally scheduled for 2025, pushed to 2026, then 2027, and now 2028. So the question is, what is going on? The frustrating part is that no one truly knows, because Warner Brothers hasn't given a clear, unified explanation, but we can read between the lines and piece it together at what's actually going on. Let's start with the writers' protest in 2023. It lasted around 5 to 6 months, and you may have seen clips of your favourite actors protesting, and they wanted a few things: fair streaming residuals, protection from AI replacing their work, better base pay, and healthcare contributions. All reasonable demands, but the strike alone does not explain a multi-year delay. The Batman Part 2 was announced in April 2022. The strike occurred in May 23 and ended in September 23. They had a full year before the strike even began to start the script. So we can't really blame these strikes, as they only lasted 6 months, and the script should have been in development for at least a year before this. And this should not, in any case, prolong a film for 6 years. Next, we have James Gunn's brutal confirmation. On December 28, 2024, James Gunn put it quite bluntly. He said, "The only reason for the delay is there isn't a full script. That's it. Maybe there isn't a conspiracy. Maybe there isn't a secret. Just no script." So this means almost 3 years after the first film, 1 year after the strike, and 2 years into Gunn's DC leadership, Matt Reeves still hadn't finished the script. Production couldn't start, casting couldn't start, nothing could move. And Gunn's rule was very simple: no script equals no production. It's a smart rule, but it's just terrible timing. Production for the film didn't start till June 2026, and is set to continue for the rest of this year. So it took them 4 years to get a script together, which personally I think is ridiculous. This also means that the writing process dragged on far longer than anyone expected. For a character as iconic and profitable as the Batman, this is truly baffling, and I think it suggests a few things. The first, there were lingering issues with the story. Perhaps there was studio pushback on a few creative ideas. There was creative disagreements between the studio and Matt Reeves. There were potentially structural rewrites, or Matt Reeves was extremely slow and in a very meticulous process. Whatever the reason, the script took too long. Then the question arises, can they really finish the film by 2028? Filming is set to continue through the rest of 2026, and there's always a likelihood of reshoots in 2027. That would leave roughly 1 year for editing, VFX, scoring, marketing, test screenings, and then of course final cuts. It's a very tight schedule, and I feel they will need more time. And I feel another delay is on the way, maybe late 2028 or even 2029. It's possible and it's more realistic, especially if there are reshoots, rewrites, or any issues with the script. Next is the Warner Brothers scheduling chaos. Warner Brothers have come out and said that they have moved the Batman Part 2 out of 2027 to make room for J.J. Abrams' The Great Beyond, a film nobody asked for, nobody knows, and to be honest with you, nobody cares about. All we know is it's an upcoming American science fantasy film written by J.J. Abrams. Now compare this to the Batman, a $1 billion IP, one of the most recognisable characters on Earth, delayed for that. It's insane, it's confusing, and it shows that Warner Brothers' priorities are all over the place. If I was in Warner Brothers' position, I would rush the Batman out immediately. It's an easy money maker. The previous film was a critical success and a success with the audience. I don't understand why you would delay it further for another film. Another reason for the potential delay is the side content. Of course, there was the Penguin, at which Matt Reeves conceived the entire premise. Reeves originally pitched the series to HBO as a Scarface-like gangster story focusing on Oscorp exploiting the power vacuum left at the end of the Batman. He then hired the team, supervised the project, and set the constraints. Then of course there was Arkham Asylum, a television series that was promised but cancelled in 2024. And it got cancelled due to a rocky 4-year development with constant creative overhauls. But again, the sequel to the Batman is the engine of the franchise. These other shows are essentially accessories. They don't bring in the same money, the attention, or the cultural weight as the Batman sequel. And I think Reeves may have stretched himself too thin. Adding all these other projects and working with them would obviously delay the sequel. But I feel it was a stupid move. You could have easily have summarised the Penguin in the sequel, or released it further down the line. It was a good show, but again, I would rather have watched the sequel to the Batman than the Penguin. Next, we have DCU interference. Because Patterson's Batman exists outside of the DCU, his films clash with DC Studios' plans. They want to release Batman the Brave and the Bold in 2028. But if the Batman Part 2 drops the same year, it's a disaster. And if Reeves' films slips to 2029 due to delays, the DCU Batman likely slips to 2030. And of course, Paramount have acquired Warner Brothers. And if they come in and they want the resources focused on the DC universe and not the Batman sequel, then Matt Reeves' universe could very well be in trouble. This creates friction. It creates 2 Batman, 2 universes, 2 timelines, and one studio trying to juggle both. It can get pretty messy. Not only that, as mentioned, because of the Paramount acquisition threat, it could potentially cause further issues as well. Budgets being reviewed, release calendars being reshuffled again, distribution rights being renegotiated, projects being prioritised or cut, and Paramount might come in and favour the DCU over Reeves' universe. And this could delay the film even further, or even the worst case, it could shelve it. Corporate mergers are brutal and they reshuffle and change a lot of things for the better, or in this case potentially for the worse. So here's the bottom line. James Gunn had recently wrote on Threads, to be fair, a 5-year gap or more is fairly common in sequels. There was a 7-year gap between Alien and Aliens, a 14-year gap between The Incredibles, a 7-year gap between the first two Terminators, and a 13-year gap between Avatar. But, Mr. James Gunn, there are plenty of counterexamples. For example, Dune. The first one came out in 2021, the next 24, and the third one is coming out in 2026. They managed to do this all within 5 years. Then we have Christopher Nolan's trilogy, where he released Batman Begins, The Dark Knight, and The Dark Knight Rises, all in 7 years. Just because these few films that Gunn has cherry-picked had long production timelines, doesn't mean that they actually have to. To leave an IP dormant for 6 years, potentially longer, it's madness. It's bad business, it's bad planning, and it's terrible for fans. The Batman was lightning in a bottle. It was a masterpiece of tone, atmosphere, character, and world building. And we want to see what's next. We want to see Patterson's evolution. We want to see Gotham grow darker, stranger, even more dangerous. But every year that passes, the hype fades, the momentum weakens, and the cultural impact softens. And you know what the worst part is? There is a real possibility we might not get the sequel at all. Like I said, if Paramount steps in, if DC reshuffles again, if Reeves' timeline slips further, the film could be delayed indefinitely or quietly cancelled. It's disappointing, it's frustrating, and it's a mess.